There is a place in the universe that no human being will ever see. Not because we don't have powerful enough telescopes. Not because our spacecraft are too slow. Not because science hasn't advanced far enough. Even if humanity survives for another million years. Even if we build machines capable of crossing galaxies. Even if every mystery of physics is solved. There is still a region of reality that may remain forever beyond our reach. Think about that for a second. Right now, at this very moment, countless galaxies could exist beyond an invisible boundary. Entire civilizations. Stars unlike anything we've ever imagined. Worlds where the laws of nature might look almost familiar. Or completely alien. Yet no image from those places will ever reach Earth. No telescope will capture them. No signal will arrive. No future expedition will report back. It's as if the universe itself has locked part of its story behind a door that can never be opened. For centuries, humanity believed that every mystery could eventually be solved. We crossed oceans. We climbed mountains. We split the atom. We walked on the moon. Every frontier eventually gave way. But this one is different. This isn't a technological barrier. It's woven into the fabric of reality itself. Tonight, we're not exploring the biggest object in existence. We're investigating the greatest limitation ever discovered by science. And by the end of this journey, you may never look at the night sky the same way again. Imagine waking up tomorrow inside a city unlike any you've ever seen. The streets stretch endlessly in every direction. The buildings look familiar enough to navigate, but something feels wrong. Every road eventually disappears into an impossibly thick wall of fog. No matter where you walk. North, south, east, or west. The same thing happens. You can travel for days, for years, even for your entire lifetime. But the fog never gets any closer. It always stays at exactly the same distance. Naturally, people would begin asking questions. What's hiding behind it? Another city? An ocean? Mountains? Or maybe nothing at all. Generations would grow up trying to answer that mystery. Some would build taller towers. Others would invent better cameras. Some would even dream of flying over the fog. But every attempt would end the same way. Not because the explorers lacked courage. Not because the technology wasn't advanced enough. But because the rules of that world simply wouldn't allow anyone to see beyond it. At first, that sounds like science fiction. Yet something remarkably similar is happening to us right now. Humanity likes to believe that every mystery eventually gives way to curiosity. History certainly encourages that confidence. There was a time when the deepest parts of the oceans seemed unreachable. Then we reached them. The highest mountains looked impossible to climb. Then people stood on their summits. Crossing the Atlantic once sounded absurd. Flying across it became routine. Walking on another world belonged only to dreams. Until footprints appeared in lunar dust. Again and again, we've mistaken not yet for never. That's one of our greatest strengths. But it has also become one of our greatest assumptions. Because we've solved so many impossible problems, we quietly started believing that every mystery is temporary. That every locked door eventually gets opened. Every map eventually becomes complete. Every question eventually receives an answer. Science, however, has a habit of humbling certainty. Sometimes it doesn't reveal another answer. Sometimes it reveals a limit. Not a technological limit. Not an engineering limit. A fundamental limit built into reality itself. And that's deeply unsettling. Because it forces us to confront a possibility we've spent centuries trying to avoid. What if some parts of existence are not merely undiscovered? What if they are permanently unknowable? Take a moment to think about how everything you've ever learned reached your mind. Every face you've recognized. Every sunset you've admired. Every page you've read. Every star you've ever noticed in the night sky. All of it arrived the same way. Information traveled from the outside world. Until it reached you. Without information, reality might as well not exist. Imagine someone silently turning off every source of light around you. The room is still there. The walls haven't vanished. The furniture hasn't disappeared. But without information reaching your eyes, your world instantly becomes smaller. Reality hasn't changed. Only your access to it has. That simple idea is about to become one of the most important discoveries of this entire journey. Because the universe doesn't reveal itself all at once. It only tells us stories carried by information. And every story takes time to arrive. That single fact changes everything. It changes how we understand distance. It changes how we understand time. It changes how we understand the night sky. And perhaps most surprisingly, it changes what we mean when we use the word universe. Before we measure stars. Before we visit galaxies. Before we ask how large the cosmos really is. We first need to answer a much simpler question. How does the universe communicate with us at all? Because once you understand the messenger, you'll realize why part of the message may never arrive.
Hey guys, a quick pause before we keep going. If you're enjoying the video so far, show our channel some love. Leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. When you interact, like, and leave a comment, it lets us know that you're liking our work. That's what motivates us to keep bringing you more cool videos. So go ahead and comment down below what you're thinking, and let's get back to the video.
Imagine trying to understand an entire civilization, using nothing but letters. No photographs, no videos, no phone calls, no internet. Just envelopes arriving one by one. Some were written yesterday. Others were written centuries ago. Some took so long to arrive that the people who wrote them no longer exist. Now imagine that every piece of knowledge about the universe reaches us exactly like that. Except the letters are made of light. Light is far more than something that lets us see. It is the universe's oldest messenger. Everything you've ever learned about the cosmos. Every planet. Every comet. Every black hole. Every distant galaxy. Was discovered because light carried a message across space until it finally reached Earth. Without light, the universe would remain almost completely silent. That sounds simple. But hidden inside this idea is one of the strangest consequences in all of science. The messenger is incredibly fast. Nothing we've ever observed moves faster. Traveling at nearly 300,000 kilometers every second, light could circle Earth more than 7 times in the time it takes you to blink. For everyday life, that speed feels instant. Flip a light switch. The room brightens immediately. Look at a mountain. You assume you're seeing it exactly as it is. Our brains evolved in a world where light is effectively instantaneous. But the universe doesn't operate on human scales. Space is so unimaginably vast that even the fastest messenger in existence begins to look slow. Think about the moon. It feels close. It's been part of every human civilization. People have written poems about it, built calendars around it, walked across its surface. Yet the light reflecting from the moon takes over a second to reach your eyes. You're never seeing the moon as it exists now. You're seeing the moon as it existed a little over 1 second ago. That may not sound dramatic, until you realize the same rule applies to everything else. The sun feels permanent. Every sunrise seems immediate. But sunlight spends about 8 minutes crossing the emptiness between the sun and Earth. If our star were somehow to vanish this very instant, life on Earth wouldn't notice immediately. The oceans would still sparkle. Birds would still fly. Children would still laugh beneath daylight. For 8 extraordinary minutes, the entire planet would continue behaving as though the sun still existed. Not because it does, but because its final message is still on the way. That idea feels almost impossible to accept. Yet it is perfectly real. Every time you look into space, you are waiting for news. Some of it arrives quickly. Some of it arrives after years. Some messages have traveled longer than human civilization has existed. Others began their journey before the first mammals walked across Earth. Every beam of light is a time capsule, a frozen moment crossing unimaginable distances. This changes something fundamental. When people look at the night sky, they often imagine they're seeing the universe in the present. They're not. The universe has no live broadcast. There is no cosmic now. Everything above us is delayed. Every star is a memory. Every galaxy is history. The farther away something is, the older its story becomes. In other words, distance and time are no longer separate ideas. Out there, they become the same thing. And once those two concepts merge, our understanding of reality begins to unravel. Because if looking farther means looking further into the past, then an astonishing question appears. How far back can we actually see? And what happens when there is no older light left to arrive? If someone asked you where the past is, you'd probably point behind you. Yesterday is behind us. Last year is behind us. Ancient history is behind us. That's how we naturally imagine time. A line stretching from the past, through the present, and into the future. But the universe doesn't think that way. Out there, the past isn't behind you. It's above you. Every clear night, when darkness falls and the first stars begin to appear, something extraordinary happens. Without realizing it, you become an archaeologist. Not of bones, not of ruins, but of time itself. Every point of light overhead is a fragment of history arriving at your eyes. Some stars are so close that their light began traveling while you were already alive. Others started their journey before your grandparents were born. Some left long before humans invented writing. Others departed before the Roman Empire existed. And the most distant light ever detected began its journey when our planet itself was still unimaginably young. The night sky isn't a photograph. It's a museum. Every object is an exhibit from a different era. Imagine walking into a library where every book comes from a different century. One shelf contains yesterday's newspaper. Another holds manuscripts from the Middle Ages. Another preserves scrolls from ancient Egypt. Another contains documents written before human civilization even existed. Now imagine opening every one of those books at exactly the same moment. That's what your eyes do every single night. The universe doesn't send us a synchronized picture. It sends millions of separate stories, each one written at a different moment in cosmic history. Your brain quietly stitches them together into what feels like a single sky. But it isn't. It's a collage assembled across billions of years. This is one of the strangest illusions we experience every day. We instinctively believe that everything we see exists simultaneously. Yet the universe refuses to cooperate with that assumption. Some of the stars visible tonight may already be gone, exploded, collapsed, transformed into something entirely different. Their final messages are simply still traveling toward us. Think about how unsettling that really is. You can spend your entire life admiring a star, without realizing that the object inspiring you no longer exists. The light survives. The source may not. In a sense, the universe is haunted by its own memories. Its history keeps moving long after the events themselves have ended. And the deeper we look into space, the younger the universe becomes. Astronomers don't build larger telescopes because they simply want to see farther. They build them because they want to travel deeper into history. Every improvement in technology isn't just another step across distance. It's another step backward through time. Each new telescope becomes less like a camera and more like a time machine. Not because it transports us into the past, but because the past has been traveling toward us all along. This completely changes the meaning of exploration. When ancient sailors crossed unknown oceans, they discovered new lands. When astronomers observe deeper into the cosmos, they discover older moments. Space exploration is really history exploration. And that realization leads us to an even stranger question. If every extra kilometer reveals an older chapter of the universe, what happens when we finally reach the first chapter? Can we witness the beginning of everything? Or does the universe keep one final page forever out of reach? Because there is a moment in cosmic history that no telescope, no matter how powerful, may ever be able to see beyond. And that's where our investigation becomes truly extraordinary. In the first part of our journey, we discovered something that changed the way we see the cosmos. The universe is not just a collection of stars floating in darkness. Every point of light carries a story. Every galaxy is a chapter written across billions of years. And the farther we look into space, the deeper we travel into the past. But the greatest discoveries are still ahead. Because after crossing the boundaries of our solar system, after leaving our galaxy behind, and after exploring the enormous structures that connect billions of galaxies, we reach a question that has challenged humanity for generations. Where does the universe actually end? For centuries, we believed that with better instruments, we would eventually see everything. A more powerful telescope, a more advanced spacecraft, a better understanding of physics. But what if the universe has a limit that technology can never overcome? What if there are places in existence that are not hidden, but permanently beyond our reach? In the second part of this journey, we will explore the invisible boundaries of reality itself. We will discover why the universe we can observe may be only a tiny window into something much larger. We will uncover the strange cosmic architecture that connects galaxies across unimaginable distances. A structure so enormous that individual galaxies become nothing more than tiny points inside a gigantic cosmic network. We will investigate the mysterious forces that shape this structure. Forces we can detect, but still do not fully understand. And finally, we will face the biggest question of all. How much of the universe will humanity ever be able to know? Because the greatest mystery may not be what exists beyond the stars. The greatest mystery may be discovering where the limits of human understanding truly begin. The universe has been expanding for nearly 14 billion years. And now, we are about to explore the places where even our imagination begins to fail. This is part 2. The final journey to discover the true limits of the universe. If you enjoyed this type of content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. In future videos, you'll delve even deeper into the mysteries of humanity.